So the big question is this: how these entrepreneurs who started from scratch and had no idea how to sell or market their products or services online and then later on made over 6 figures, 7 figures or even 8 figures became best in their niches and found their dream customers to sell. My name is RJ Ahmed and find this all out in our Interviews with Entrepreneurs show. I interviewed these entrepreneurs and tried to pick their brain of how they actually did that and how they took their business as well as their life to the next level. This podcast is all about the entrepreneurs who strive so hard to become super awesome in their niches. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs. Welcome to Interviews with Entrepreneurs show where we interview entrepreneurs who are super awesome in their niches. I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm doing it from after a long time, even though it's just a week. We do weekly shows, but I feel like internally that I'm doing it after a long period of time. But anyways, so today's guest is a really special guest, especially when it comes to like video marketing, creating high converting videos. This man has worked with all of these industry leaders we have in our space, guys like Russell Brunson, Dan Henry, Anthony Morrison, Jordan Belfort, and like even a lot more, and I've generated over $200 million in sales for them using his video skills. He have massive agency like helping these people out get more revenues. And how I actually met this guy is, I was having a conversation with him and he was like, hey, have you saw the McDonald video that you see in ClickFunnels? The normal video that ClickFunnels use in their infomercial and everything out there in ClickFunnels pages out there. I have the one that who's created it. I'm like out of the world. So he have helped a lot of other entrepreneurs who are dominating in these niche with his video skills out there and with his video agency. If you're in this space, especially like video marketing and so many things that you do at the moment, you must have known this guy. Or if you're under the rock, that's the only reason I think so that you don't know this person. So if you're tuning in live, use hashtag live. If you're tuning on replay, use hashtag replay. So please welcome Ray K. Hey Ray, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're welcome. I'm happy to share some insights, of the things that we did and the good thing, that most people don't really not aware of how all the companies that were made or how the campaigns were built. I'm happy to share with you.
I'm excited as well. And again, the people who are jumping on live use hashtag live. The people who are jumping on replay use hashtag replay. So Ray, like if people are living under the rock and they don't know about you, who you are, could you tell us a bit of a backstory of how you got started in a space and like how things transitioned for you later on?
Sure. So I pretty much 2009, no, probably 2008, I was working in a factory somewhere in England, and like I had this dream, like I wanted to do, like I had the skill, I had the videos that I've been doing, like for businesses, not for business actually, but just for TV in my country. And then I moved, kind of looking for love and looking for better life. I went, I left my country and went to work basically in factory, security guard, etc. And then I was trying to figure out like how can I take my skill, what I love, what I'm really kind of not really good at that time probably, but just what I love doing, and how can I make it, my life's like my driving, my life's driving force and
Yeah.
things that pay for me and everything else. So I pretty much what I did in the beginning, I just printed everything I knew, like presentations, videos, computers, fixing routers, everything. I just printed everything on leaflet and started throwing around, the neighborhood. And I found the guy that hired me to do a video, and he was like, I was like, for 1 month I was hesitated to put that into that because it was a big house, new Audi A8 at that time, and I was like, nah, he's not gonna interested. And I just put after 1 month, and then he came back and he was like he was doing uh, war games with like the
Yeah.
like big companies, and he needed like a presentation, and I did like in 3 days, and I made the same amount of money as I made in the factory for 30 days. I was like, that's it, I'm quitting. And then found a few other guys. Then that one of them in that neighborhood was He's a he was a British Airways pilot, and he saw how I'm really connected with what I do, and he invested in me. And he was a platinum member of Tony Robbins. So the first client I got was Joseph McClendon, who speaks with Tony Robbins at UPW. Right, that was the first client, and I went I did some filming and in the event he was doing in London, and we basically put together a video at the end, and everybody just went crazy. He invited on the stage, and that's what I knew. Like, this is what I want to do. And then I tried to do like marketing for him YouTube because I had some success on
Yeah.
YouTube videos, but he came back to me. It's like, hey, I showed your video, that you did for us for this Mike Koenig's guy, but he said that's like it's not gonna work. And I was like, damn, like this. Well, who's this Mike Koenig's? Like he's trying basically to ditch my clients. And then I did some research, and also because I was in 2007, I think I watched Secret, and I signed up on all the people who were on The Secret. And John Nassaraf, one of the guys in The Secret, he was basically sending out an email and saying like, hey, I'm here with Mike Koenigs in his studio talking about video marketing. It's like, damn, these guys. But then I was like, no, that's the wrong mindset. It's like, how can I work with those guys instead of, you know what I mean? Instead of
Hmm.
instead of pushing, like, how can I work with them? I went on Facebook, man sent a message. He needed actually 3 videos at a time. In 3 months, I was sitting in the same studio having the same photo with them. Like that's how crazy it went. And then from Mike
Yeah.
Innings, he was launching Traffic Geyser. So he worked with Brendan Bouchard, Frank Kern. Uh, there was a girl, Pam Hendrickson, who was doing like for 21 years. She was doing Tony Robbins product development, and she was going on her own, and she was doing a promo for Wall Street. So she goes to Mike Koenig, says, hey, I need somebody who's really good at promo videos. So here I have the guy, Ray. So he introduced me. I worked with Wolf of Wall Street. Then she came back. She comes back like probably a couple months ago, a couple of months later. She says, hey, Tony Robbins, actually, we need a business mastery promo for UPW that's going to show.
Yeah.
So and that's how crazy it went. Basically, I just went through everybody, and pretty much, yeah, worked with everybody.
Yeah. Wow. And that's really awesome out there. And as you mentioned, like everything started from around 2009. And when we had the conversation, I told you I was probably around 10 at that moment. I'm 22 right now, so like kind of a huge age difference into it as well. But yeah, that's really awesome. So like as I mentioned even in the introduction itself, like the intro that is kind of the McDonald infographic video out there that ClickFunnels use into into their all of their pages out there was been created by you. I want to ask like what you see essentially if you list down like three things are the most important things when we create a video, especially infographic video itself, because obviously like everyone kind of like go in and create something similar to it, or like they create infographics, but if you narrow down three things, what is those three things to make
Yeah.
it
So
successful?
first of all, you have to understand the reason I'm doing like we've done all the graphic stuff, because the only thing I had when I was learning everything, the only thing I had was a computer. So
Yeah.
for me, it's like I wasn't good at on camera. I didn't speak English well. I didn't like we used to do TV commercials, which is basically just like whatever they give you, you just use that. So I was never really about like I was never really like my friend Kevin Anson. He's like the video guy, right? Like he has the
Yeah.
cameras, everything else. But like for me, like as you can see, like I just want a ring light. I'll do like just to film it, and that's it. And then everything else will be graphics. We'll add something else. So if we talk about three things, the most important three things is this. First of all, is the core message, right?
Mm.
If you don't have a message, that's like this is what used to this is why I used to do with without Joseph McClendon, is that it was good for, let's say, the event, because you're kind of taking and capturing what people already have and then creating elevated that version. But like if you want to promote the event, like that's completely rubbish. It's not going to work. The reason is there's no message outside because that's people already in, they paid already, they have a different mindset, right? So really
Yeah.
understanding and focusing on how can you, create a marketing that connects whatever your product offers, benefits and all the things that will help your clients, and that this is for them. This, you understand the situation, right? So that's the messaging. Like, without messaging you cannot start anywhere, right? And even us, like, we don't create videos if the message is not tested. We actually test all the time, you know so we do it
Hmm.
quickly, cheap, so we can test it. If it's a shitty, if it's shitty video, and I can tell you what shitty video is. But if it's a simple video, right? And if you have a great message, you will convert, you will get sales, right? They call it, like, you know instead of flyer, you can write something on a napkin and you will close if the messaging is good, right? So that's first.
Yeah.
Once you have the message, right? And we work with copywriters, and we create for clients, we create ads, VSLs, explainer videos, all those scripts, right? Once you have the messaging, right, now it's really about, the second thing is really about how can you authentically tell that message. Because I actually had this example now. Somebody sent me, it's like, the message is one thing, but then it shows like different graphics, different messages. Like, it's like 3 or 4 messages at the same time trying to blast through your mind. Like, that's insane.
Hmm.
It's like the mind doesn't think. If you so whatever you're thinking, there's a pace, and you want to have that conversation from that messaging. So once you have the messaging, then it's really about authentically creating that flow of that message. Right? That's the second thing. And the third thing, I want to say call to action, but I think it's really about the emotional connection, because what we really focus on is creating the images that we want people to think.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like Inception. I would say this is like an Inception. You can see like all these videos. Like, this is intros that we've done. Like Dan Henry, for example. But like, we think, even with Dan Henry, like, what do we think? It's like, I studied all these people, so we show Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and all these, but at the same time he arrives at his success, right? Like, he's the same as they, right? And then it transitions into, um, let's say, his house where he lives, right? But like, this is what you want to create, that association of, like, what do you actually want them to understand from this? Because the message is one thing, but like, what do you images you want? Because the way we think is, um, it's not the language that we speak, it's the images that we generate from the language, right? So this is what, in what I can do is I can create those images in your mind. you know so regarding style, for example, like, there is no style of, well, we're going to use animation or live footage
Yeah.
or whiteboard. It's like, that's not important. The most important thing is the core message. Like, what would be the best way to tell that message? Maybe sometimes you just need to draw something. Sometimes, there's numbers, right? So you need to show the graphs and everything, right? Maybe sometimes there's a connection, so you really need to show the eyes of a person, right? And we can use stock footage, etc. So, like, what is the thing that will create that and transcend that emotion the most through the video? And that's what it's all about.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. That's so awesome. So just to narrow down for the people out there who are kind of like watching, how they have narrowed down these 3 points. The first thing is absolutely your core message. Now your core messaging is important. The second thing what he said is authenticity. You have to make sure what your message is that is authentic. You're not kind of like confusing people out there from one message and going to the another end out there. It should be authentic. It should be straight to the point. And then all
I
of
have
those
actually
things. Yeah.
actually
Go
have
ahead.
a I actually have a tip for it. Like, if you have a sentence, right,
Hmm.
go into Google, type it into Google, and look at the images results.
Hmm.
If you don't show that, at least, in some way, like, you're missing the point. The whole thing is missing the point.
That's a cool tip, guys. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, 100%. So these are the type of things the people, especially who are watching or listening out there, have to like kind of like make sure in order to make some of those things work out when they're trying to working on a video. So I'm gonna ask one thing out there, which is kind of like I see most, especially people who are into video marketing agencies or like are video creators out there struggle, which is trying to price what they're worth. They kind of struggle what their actually worth is. And I'm not talking about the people who are kind of like working in the beginning stage, the people who are working with good amount of people out there, but they're not able to position themselves in charging high, where they know how much they're worth, but they are not unable to charge it. They're stuck at that point. How
Yeah.
you think people should go in and position their pricing when they go in and charging for their video marketing services, especially to the people out there that they know they have the potential for paying them even more, but then they don't have the ability at the moment to go in and ask for it.
Yeah. So this is where it's like it works two ways, and which is this. If you really think about it, like you can charge, let's say, even for like, um, let's take, just like a consultation, for example, right? You
Yeah,
could charge 10 grand and you could charge 100 and you could say the same things. You could basically use the same thing. The problem you have is if you're gonna charge 10K, some people it will be too much or it's just ridiculous, right?
yeah,
For others, if you charge 100, like they don't want to talk to you because you're too low for them. So the idea is that it's not just about figuring out what you want to charge. Like I want to charge whatever I want to charge, right? My goal now is to find somebody that will appreciate it, that understands the value, and also that with what I do, would that make sense, right? So for example, uh, like just an example. I had this conversation with somebody. Uh, you need to do like a really good webinar, right? And your internet is broken, right? So here's the two situations. So how much you would pay because somebody will come in and fix it, change something, right? How much you would pay if it's like 15 minutes before the webinar, in your company or whatever you're doing, like you want to do really big, like you have so many registers, on the email, on the ads, you spend ads and you everybody registered, right? And they are attending the event and like your internet is broken. How much you gonna pay to that person, right?
whatever that person is gonna like ask for it.
And yeah, especially if it's a middle of the night,
Yeah,
for you, and like there's no way, and he's the only one that can come in, change it, right? And then the other
yeah,
time is like, oh, I'm just missing the internet, like I need to fix it maybe in a couple of days. How much you're gonna pay for that person, right? So like I'm not gonna pay anything because that's a company, like that's a customer service. They have to fix it for me because I'm paying for the internet anyway, right? So that's the same way. It's like it's not just about because what people do, I think, is that they figure out like, oh, I'm gonna ask 5K, okay, but like who you gonna ask, right? Because
mm,
like I like do you find like because with the big risk, there's big upsides, right? So maybe, then you need to find somebody who would actually, maybe it's a big risk on you also, and I say like, hey, look, I'm going to charge you 5K, right? But we're going to work until we finish it. We actually
yeah,
work until, right? I can charge five, I can, I do this also I just actually signed up another client for 5K, just from ads. I spent like $150 on ads, and the guy is doing really well, about 20-30K a month. And for him, I'm charging basically 5K for three ads, you know. So that's a good deal because the way we're gonna work is we're gonna help him to get results. But for somebody it's like, what, 5K for three ads? Are you kidding me? Right?
yeah, yeah. That's so interesting out there.
I you
How
know
on a
I can
different
go to
perspective.
Fiverr. I can go to Fiverr and pay $150 and we'll give three. Yeah, so good luck. Because those guys will definitely create an ad that will work for you. You
Yeah,
know,
100%. Like finding your dream buyers, finding your dream buyers
yeah,
initially. Yeah,
yeah. Because everybody talks about ideal client, but like you have to also become the ideal provider.
hmm,
It's a perfect match. Like if you look, oh, this is ideal client for me, he has the money, blah blah blah. Okay, but like, do you look to them like an ideal provider? Like,
Hmm.
oh, this dude, this, he worked with this, he does this, and like, he helps with this, and he gives this guarantee, and like he actually, focus on results, etc. Like, oh shit, like that's a good deal. And he actually said, like, he said, that's actually really good. That's a really good deal.
Yeah, 100%. Now, this is actually the kind of the transition thing that you actually said, which kind of like a light bulb for me on the initial side, because a lot of people out there just focusing on, hey, as you said, a lot of people focus on the dream client, and they are focusing on the people that they can go and attract, but they don't become a person who their clients can go and attract. So,
Yep.
which is crazy, and I really loved it how you laid it down, like, wow. So let's talk about, in the video space out there, everyone, the people who are using it for their ads, using it for infographics and so many things out there. What do you think is the number one mistake people make when they're using videos, but they're not converting? We already talked about the three list down, like we use for conversions, but if you
Hmm.
narrow down to one thing that is a common mistake you see people make, why their videos are not converting, whether it's ads or it's like in their funnels or in general itself, like what is the one thing why their videos are not converting?
Yeah. So Kevin has, I don't know if you went through that, but Kevin has a really great 10-step formula that he teaches. So that's really good things. And from that, I can tell you this: the biggest mistake people make in the ads, and because we work like for 10 years now with all the best copy.
Yeah.
The number one thing is they try to teach, they try to give away instead of creating curiosity. Because the ad, all it has to do, has to create curiosity. Like, if you really look at somebody who's really doing well, you look at the ads and it's like this. So for me, like, it's sometimes like, dude, like, you said so many words and you didn't say anything. That's the
Hmm.
thing. It's like, it's like, hey, if you're doing this and if you're not getting the result, there's certain things you're doing wrong, and we figure out the process. And if you use this process, and we're not giving away the process, right? But if you use this process, here's what we'll give you. Da, 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 da. It's like, what did you say? You didn't say anything. You didn't say what I'm using, wrong, and you didn't say what I'm using right. But then what's the call to action? Is call to action is the next step. What is that you're gonna give them, right? And it's packaged into something that, like, it will actually reveal everything to you. So that's really the number one. Because everybody's trying to teach, they're trying to teach. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. But if you're just gonna do SEO correctly, and if you go to YouTube, then like they're trying to
Yeah.
teach instead of create solution. Instead of providing there's a solution, they're trying to already pitch an idea. And I think that's where usually we see that it's the missing pieces.
So it means curiosity is the biggest piece out there that people miss out in order to get their videos convert, correct?
Well, the idea is that in order to get the click, or in order to get people to take it to the next step, right? They have to understand everything but the thing itself,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, like this is really interesting out there, how everything is in place, and like since you've already worked with a lot of like high end entrepreneurs in the space and top digital marketers in the space out there, these things comes up where people just actually don't notice these kind of like minor things, and they're like, as you said, like laying down like everything, and they're like, okay, so what are we getting actually, or like why we should go in and even proceed for like going forward, like if you have provided everything to us at the moment. Yeah, yeah, 100%. So what are the, like, I know like you've been in, especially in a space like for more than a decade, and as we already mentioned that stuff out there at the moment and later on, like what's the next thing for you, like what are the things that you're focusing on at the moment, how things gonna go for you in the next probably a decade or so, like what's the next thing for you at the moment?
So I can tell you this because how I got where I got wasn't because of my skill. It was because of my what I learned, about me and how to use who I am, as a person that will attract all those things. And I can tell you, like, in my life, there's three decisions that I made that really shifted, that changed my life, and I want to kind of give to everybody else, because really I'm all about like helping people to identify what they're really all about, what they really love, and then how you can make that as a driving force for you to get
Mm.
everything you want. My belief is like whoever you are, it has to get you everything you want, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's all worthless, right? So when I was 19, I left the home at 15, and at 19 I was suicidal, right? And I had this like I was planning my suicide for like 6 months, writing in journals and everything. And then the day came, and I was like, that's it, like, because I don't have anything, no family, nothing, like, just what's my purpose? Well, like, what's my existence? And then when I took time came, I realized how much I want to live. So the first decision I made was, if I'm gonna live, I'm gonna live fully.
Mm.
Like if I'm gonna put in effort to live, I'm gonna focus, and focus on what I want, and all those things, right? And then 2 years later, basically got me to the same point. The reason I got into suicidal thoughts, and like everything just basically went down. And the reason was because I was putting a lot of energy into living, but I was using the same old fucking strategies that didn't help. That always were protection, always was trying to survive, and it got me to the wrong place. And
Mm.
one, it was basically to the point where I was almost like building out a page with all the I hacked somebody's Skype, and that hurt me, and I was pretty much just ready to press the button to kind of ruin somebody's life. And I'm like, is that the reason I stayed for living? And at that moment, I changed my focus and decision and said, it doesn't matter how much it's going to hurt me, how it's going to be hard. I'll be focusing always to add value, and always to keep the place better than I came in. And that's when it shifted. That's when the secret came in. That's all these people. Because even with my kidneys, remember, I said like, shit, these guys, doing what they're doing. So I'm in the protective mode, like, oh, they're trying to take away from me. So even with, with Russell Brunson, the people I trained basically, and we worked on a lot of projects for him, they kind of separated, and they did the different thing. And actually Russell did some projects with them. I was like, shit, they took Russell, as a client.
Yeah.
But I was like, but that's like my protection. So I was like, how can I create value? How can I bring value? In 2016, I was like, hey, Russell, can I do it? I'm coming to Funnel Hacking Live. Can I do a video for you? Right. So that year we did for free. We did, cool video. He showed it, thanked me. Da, da, da. The next year is like, hey, Russell, let's do another video. It's like, hey, we have this comic book, right? Avengers. And then, we did the Avengers video. We went to the Fun Hacking Live. Next year was Justice League. And then 2019 was like the grand epic, which was, uh, I basically took like Billie Jean and Dean Graziosi and like all these top, guys in the industry, had them to do video for me. And then we did this insane video. And Justice League, Russell showed that video, did the presentation, and saw like $10 million coaching from stage, right?
Mm.
So like, just by always looking, how can I, like, even if somebody doesn't want me, doesn't hire me, or somebody cancels me, like, how can I still look, don't shut the door. How can I add value? And once I started doing that, dude, like, that's changed the game, because people don't see you, as being this bitchy, like, oh, I'm a victim or whatever. They actually,
Yeah.
see that it doesn't matter what's happened to you, you're still adding value, right? And that's, they really, really value that and appreciate. And and then I was doing that, right? So everybody was like using me, and I was not getting anywhere, because I was like trying to help everybody, and everybody was, like, probably the wrong people also, but they were saying, it's like they were always getting the argument. And it's like, hey, if I won't learn how I can make people beg me and pay me to give what I want, what I have, it's like I'm not gonna get anywhere. And that's when
Mm.
marketing and sales and working with Wolf of Wall Street came in. Like Wolf of Wall Street, actually, Jordan Belfort was one of the, he shifted so my thinking about the sales. And it was because, it's not because of whatever his story is, because we all fuck up. So, like I can tell you mine, it's like whatever, um, it will, everybody has a shitty story.
Yeah.
Um, But what I learned from him was that, like, how do you sell to the top 1% of all the people, right? How he sold the stocks. And it's really about like understanding what you need to convey. So I took the best bits what he was teaching, which is it's like all the sale it is just you have to achieve three things. That's all you have to do, which is you have to show them that they have to believe that you're just like them, that you care, and that you are the person to help them. If you can achieve that, if you can achieve that, closes. If it's closable, close. So that's why I started learning all these things, and then I started coaching in Lithuania. I came in 2011, I think I came back to Lithuania, did a lot of training and coaching in Lithuania, just because this is where, like, this is the environment that that gave me all this kind of shitty life, right? So I wanted to leave after me. So anybody like me who's in the dark and wants to change their life, and go from, like, just trying to survive into thriving, and having amazing life, etc. So I kind of did a lot of training, and I learned how to do it, which is like, how do you do that? Well, you have to create desire. You have to create people begging you and wanting to pay you to know all that stuff. you know so
Hmm.
it's really about the exchange, and really about understanding who you are, and then who you are, because this is who you are. Who's it benefiting the most, right? How do you connect? How do you communicate that? And then how do you position yourself in a way that you can get paid a lot for that? So who's going to
Hmm.
pay you for that? Who's going to value? Who's going to see the possibilities, you helping him?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's awesome, and that's really value bombs, like, and truth bombs out there. And I
Not a
can see
video
like
guy, right? Not a
yeah,
video guy.
yeah. Not only the video guy, yeah, hundred
Oh,
percent,
that's why
and
explainer God, it was somebody's, my friend said, explainer God, which was for me, it was like, I'm all about explaining,
yeah,
because I didn't know anything, I didn't understand anything myself, so I needed explanation. And all these people, Russell and everybody else, will help me to explain those things for me, how to understand, by giving their trainings, they're giving stuff that I needed. And and the way I learned actually was, let's say, Wolf of Wall Street needs a video, right? So they send me all the footage. Tony Robbins needs a promo video for UPW Business Mastery. They send me all the footage, right? Russell, like, we need to do a funnel, let's say for ClickFunnels, we need to do. So he gives me all the trainings, he gives me all the access to ClickFunnels, right? Like, I have everything. So
mm,
that's how I learned. That's how I learned how to explain, and that's why I went through it myself. Usually, like ClickFunnels, I would create all the funnels, and then I was like, okay, shit, this I'm missing this, or maybe and that's how I understand how to create videos. So it's really like, if you want to be amazing at what you do and to create the best value, it's nothing to do with the skill. It's being really the person that you have to become. Like, you have to become the shit. Like, it's not just one thing, and you have to understand also your personality, so you don't try to be everything where you just want to be one thing. So it's really about,
yeah,
like, having that harmony of, like, understanding the values that you have, which is the most important things for you in your life. Then the second thing is your personality, the way you build, the way you operate, the way your brain is wired. And based on that, who's gonna value this the most? How do you need to present yourself? Because this is who you are. This is the core. Now we're gonna sell it. That's the thing.
mm. Awesome, awesome, absolutely. I can see a comment out there that I was live from last 15 minutes, but got so much into Ray's storytelling thing that I forgot to type even hashtag live. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sahil, for being on live. So without wasting any time out there, like, where people can find about you and follow you on the social media platform or anywhere else.
Yeah. So anybody that basically wants to identify, like, what is their life is all about, and want to take that to the next level, create an income from that. The best thing would be is just really send me a message or follow me, Ray Kapuska. Ray K Karpuska on Facebook, and then I have certain things that I can send them that I created small trainings that shows exactly how it's done.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Awesome. So I'm gonna list down Ray's profiles and social media out there in the comment section, also in the show
yeah,
notes down below, so you can go in and check that out and follow Ray, and you can even like DM him as
yeah.
well.
Send me a message. The
Yeah,
best thing is send me a message because once I know what you're all about, what you need, which I can quickly diagnose, I can give you, the right direction. That's all it is. I'm a kind of librarian. It's like, I don't like when people ask me like, what do you do? I said, what do you need? Because I have so many things that I could show you and give you, but like what else, the most important thing is what you need because that's what's going to
yeah.
help you. It doesn't, we don't give a shit what I do or what I know because if it's not going to help you, it's useless to you. So let's make it useful.
Wow, that's awesome. Not like what you do is like what you need. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So first of all, like thank you so much, Ray, for being on the show. I really loved it, and I know the people loved it as well. Any last thing that you want to say before we round the show up?
Um, yes, which is really the most important thing for me that, I spent pretty much all my life um, living in fear and living smaller version of what I really wanted to live. The thing is, like, you have to start living your dreams now, a smaller version of your dream life.
Hmm.
Because believe me, you're not gonna get anywhere if you're not gonna start now. So, it, so for example, for me, like, if I would have, let's say, like $100 million, I would live closer to the ocean, right, on the ocean. I would fly better wings. Probably would have like a school or something like that, which are already flying. I would drive the top of the line motorcycle, probably that is, has the garage and everything, right?
Yeah.
But like I'm already living a smaller version of my dream life. And most people that I meet, they don't do that at all. They hoping, they're working, they're hoping someday that this somehow going, but like you have to understand, everything you will get outside, they're always gonna be in front of you, and you will not be associated with that person because you're always gonna feel like that's not who I am. You know, I'm not
Hmm.
brave. I'm not choosing what I want. I'm not saying the things the way I want to. I'm trying to be, somebody that fits into something that gets results. And then you become your own prisoner. So the thing is really about like the money, I'm telling you, the money will come, especially the money will come when you start following your dreams. Because here's my probably the last thought I can say. Everything you want is on the path to your dreams. That's how I
Hmm.
build mine. And that's how I figured it out. And it works for everybody else that I've worked with and I help them. It's really about following your dreams because your dreams, can you imagine? I did like the most insane things for Russell, went on stage, right? And then I took my family to see, Tony Robbins at that event. We went to Florida and, San Diego and um, like all these things just because I was following my dreams, and doing what I love also helped me to do what other things that I'm really about, right? And this is how it goes, you know.
Yeah. Loved it.
Like I
Loved
had,
it.
I had basically like uh, I wanted to fly around the world, and I had two clients basically. One was going to China from America, and I was in Lithuania at that time. It's like, hey, dude, like, do you want to go with me? Yeah, I can film, and we can do some stuff. And then while I was there in China, I was like, hey, there was a Tim Larkin. He went to Russell's place, and he needed to do videos. Like, hey, actually, I can come in because I'm in China already. So just pay for my travels and everything. So I paid basically. I got the paid round trip. I
Hmm.
went to Russell. I went to Russell's place. We trained for like with the uh, self-defense instructor. Like it was like insane. All those things and took motorcycle in the Idaho, went to like canyons and stuff, and just because of what I'm doing, what I love. So it's really about that, and this is what I show people how to do that. How to identify really who you are, what you're all about, and then how to make that as your driving force, and that brings everything you want.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
anybody that wants that, send me a message. I'll give you some good resources that I have, and I'll show I'll give you like the next step that you can start building that life.
Awesome, awesome. That makes a lot of sense. And again, Ray, thank you so much for being on the show. It was absolutely valuable. There, mind blown, mic drop. So again, thank you so much for being on the show. And yeah, guys, like thank you so much for watching. And definitely gonna see you guys on the next episode. Next week we are interviewing John Lee Dumas on our show, which is crazy. So thank you so much, guys. And we're definitely gonna see you guys in the next episode. Until then,